Hey folks, it's Rob from Rob's Movie Collection, and I've got another comic box that I'm replacing the comics from an old one to a new one. So this one is box 13. I don't know if you can see this. These are my mini-series. I have a bunch of mini-series in here that I got there for a while. And this is one of those big boxes, double boxes, so I'm probably just going to be able to do half of it to this small box because these are really super heavy, and I'm not getting any younger, so I want to get them into a smaller box. So, okay, let's check it out. Okay, first up, I've got probably what I consider to be the best miniseries of all. Got Crisis on Infinite Earths. This is, let's get this one falling down. This is from the 1980s. This is by Marv Wolfman and George Perez, my favorite artist of all time. And yeah, this is amazing. An amazing 12-issue miniseries here with all these covers and done by Perez. And he drew just about every character that existed in the DC universe at that time. It introduced the Monitor and the Anti-Monitor. I mean, look at that cover. It's just all those faces. And this is what I always loved about Perez. You know, the faces are all different. He could really draw the difference in people's features and all. That was great. There's a very famous cover when Supergirl died. This was even mimicked on the latest version of Supergirl on the TV show. And this was actually when the Flash died. Barry Allen died. It took 20 years to get him back. They finally did come back, of course. All these here. I'm going really fast through this because maybe I can do a video on the series one day, but I'd have to really reread it and go over it again. But you have all the heroes from different Earths, you know, and here you got Robin and the Huntress from Earth 2, and it's great. These are amazing covers, and the insides are just as incredible there. So that's that one. I love that one. It's one of, like I say, it's my favorite. Whoops, there you go. And unfortunately kind of ruined by Infinite Crisis by subpar writers many years later who really ruined Superboy Prime. Next up, I got another epic series, 3 actually. It's a trilogy miniseries by John Byrne. It's called Generations. This was an interesting one. Got this story is about Superman and Batman, and it starts in 1939 and pretty much goes all the way. Well, by the 3rd series, it went like 1,000 years into the future, and shows them pretty much started in their origin points when they started as characters in the real world, and as they actually age throughout the different millenniums. And it had 3 of them, 3 miniseries, and it just kept going. And they have all these heirs, and the Kent and the Wayne families kind of mix, and some of them marry, and you know. But there's so much tragedy in it. There's just a whole lot of tragedy in it. But what I like about it is that this is Superman and Batman as world's finest. You know, just Generation 3. That was like a 12-issue one. And it's them as they used to be as friends. You know, not the grim adversaries that they later became and are these days. Well, aren't as much anymore thanks to Rebirth, but for the longest time became. And you know, you even have Batman smiling. Now, of course, John Byrne is not my favorite artist. He's a little limited in the way he draws characters. You know, they all kind of look the same. And for some reason, John Byrne has this thing where he loves to cut women's hair. I mean, when he took over Fantastic Four, he gave Sue Storm that little haircut that he always gives the women. It's so weird, but he has a lot of characters like that in here. There you go, like that. But yeah, this is pretty epic. This was pretty long. It was very big, and like I say, it's very tragic, but very interesting one. It's definitely worth having. Speaking of World's Finest, here's the one actually called World's Finest by Gibbons and Rude. Steve Rude, he did this great artwork here. This one was pretty good. I really enjoyed this one. It's I especially like the artwork on it. Gosh, I haven't looked at these in so long. I was actually supposed to start this video like an hour and a half ago, but I got distracted looking at these. That's always the way it happens with these old comics. And here we have Marvels, our introduction to Alex Ross. This is the one he did before Kingdom Come. Really great, and it's got these covers that have these. I don't know if you can tell here when you move it that it's like a, I don't know what you call it, but anyway, the Marvel is on top of the actual. It's like a transparency there. It's pretty good though. Yeah, this is a great. I'm sure great series. I'm sure you all know about this one. And next up, I've got Legends, a 6-part miniseries. This is from the mid '80s when they started to reboot the characters, and John Byrne had rebooted Superman, and so they kind of all, and he was part of this too. So they kind of all started to show like how they first came together, and and became the Justice League and all. And I think this is the debut of Wonder Woman in that new continuity. But, there she is right there. And here you got, oops, put that down. I have to get that laptop out from that area because it's starting to get heavy. DC versus Marvel. I mentioned this in the recent Aquaman video I did. This is the one where DC and Marvel came together and they started to, they did the storyline while the heroes fought, and the fans voted for the outcome. It was followed by a couple of miniseries, Unlimited Access, which I think these might have even run concurrently with the main one. It had to do with the the merging of the during the middle of the series they merged, and a lot of the heroes merged and then came apart, and just they had all this, as they are wont to do. They kind of try to get the most out of it, so they do these extra ones. And here we got Batman Year One by Frank Miller and David Mazzucchelli. This looks pretty good. I enjoyed this one. I think they actually made this into an animated feature, if I'm not mistaken. But this is pretty good, and I liked Mazzucchelli's artwork on this one. It's pretty good. Still a miniseries I really enjoyed, the Justice Society. I've always liked the Justice Society, and I always wish there was more of them. I would love to see an animated version of this, just a movie they would make of these guys. But I enjoyed this one a lot. I enjoyed the simplicity of the artwork, and just seeing these old characters that I didn't grow up with, but that I really enjoyed a lot. The original versions of all these characters. I'm so glad that they brought them back at one point, and we had them here. And this is a good series. I like how simple the artwork was. Cosmic Odyssey by Jim Starlin and Mike Mignola. Now, or is it Mignola? I don't know. I'm going to say Mignola. I think it's the first time I saw Mike Mignola. I was exposed to his artwork, and it was so weird, but it grew on me, and I liked it. And this is a good story here of fighting Darkseid, and it came out pretty good. Really enjoyed this one a lot. Reread it a lot of times. And speaking of Mike Mignola, One Shot, of course, the classic Gotham by Gaslight. I think they also made this into an animated movie, but I did not see. Yeah, this was an interesting idea. I love these Elseworld tales. That's what this and some of these other ones are, like the Generations and all that, because this is what these modern day writers forgot when they did the New 52. It was great to see these different versions of these heroes, but at the same time, you didn't have to be. It wasn't the regular mainstream thing. So I always loved these Elseworld tales. Now we don't really have them because they just tend to change the whole universe and say, well, that's it. That's all you have. So, but this was great. Setting him back in there, Jack the Ripper was perfect. And another one shot here, of course, The Killing Joke by Alan Moore and Brian Ballard. Yeah, this is a great story, especially the end in there where he tells him the joke. And also haven't seen the animated version, but I like the original version better. Going back to the Justice Society, we have the Golden Age, 4-issue miniseries. Pretty brutal at times. They tried to kind of approach it from a supposedly realistic viewpoint, so there's a lot of tragedy in it, but it is an Elseworlds thing, so you can kind of it doesn't have to fit into the actual history, and that's what always makes it work, at least for me. It was well done. Like I say, it's kind of brutal at times, so there's a lot of death and that sort of thing, but it was done pretty well. Kind of reminds me of Watchmen a little bit. We have 2, The History of the DC Universe by Wolfman and Perez. So, of course, I loved it. Basically, it was the history of well, that's what it says, the history of the DC Universe. It's kind of like a little encyclopedia. Of course, the thing about this sort of thing is that it's only good from the point that they actually do it. But if it's well done, you know, as Wolfman and Perez, and just great artwork as always. Look how he fits it all into the letters. I mean, that's he put so much in there. Just, you know, I love that. One of those big books for all of $2.95, which is cheaper than the regular books are these days. There's a couple of Marvels here. This was a series called What If. That was Marvel's version of Elseworlds. And they would always ask, what if this happened? What if that happened? What if Spider-Man had rescued Gwen Stacy, which you'd think would be a good thing? And it usually went that way. Usually the cover was kind of, you know, oh, this would have been a good thing. But then, of course, it turns out to be worse or something than the reality. I got this one. I got What If the Invisible Girl, the Fantastic Four, married the Submariner. And that one was kind of a little bit sad, too. But I wish I had more of these. I don't actually have a lot of these, and they were always kind of interesting to see them go off in another direction that way. And another Marvel here, the Infinity Gauntlet. Let me get all these together here. The Infinity Gauntlet, this of course is the miniseries that the latest Avengers movie has kind of based itself on. This is by Jim Starlin and George Perez again. I mean, look at that cover. I love Perez. He's just so awesome. Harkens back to when Perez used to, when he started off, I believe, on Avengers. Or, well, it's one of the early things he did. And, yeah, just great covers, great insides. Thanos there. Thanos, whatever. I think that's Gamora. Is it Gamora? Maybe. I don't know. She wasn't as green. I know that's Drax. So. It was followed up by Infinity War. I'm not sure what the difference in time is between these two. I don't know how far along they were. But this is, I think there's a new, you guys can tell me, isn't there like a new version of it? You can tell that the Hulk here was Smart Hulk. This is during the time that he had Bruce Banner's brain. Okay, that's Gamora. That's got to be Gamora. Anyway, it's followed by this, other miniseries here, all the way to 6, and then the Infinity Crusade. I guess this was another one. I just never finished collecting that one. So, and I'll end with Superman miniseries, Superman: The Secret Years. I really love these covers. Kurt Swan, Kurt Schaffenberger, and Bob Rozakis. I never noticed that. My best friend's name is Orzak. I wonder if they're related. Great cover. I always remember this cover. It's a really cool cover. Flying with the Jets, very patriotic, and of course that. Yeah, you know, going through these books, look, all of 75 cents for a comic back then. Yeah, going through these boxes, you know, it always takes me a long time to order my comics because I go through over stuff and I want to read it, and I just take it out and I spend a lot of time reading it. And that's pretty much what's happening here. So that's it for this one. That pretty much fills up this box here. I still got a whole bunch of other, got the rest of the box here, which you can see, oops, right there, so I still have to do the rest of that. It's in here, but yeah, if you guys want to see it, let me know. I'm definitely going to buy some more boxes here, and I have to get some bags and boards to finish boarding all this stuff, but if you're interested, I can show you what I have as I'm transferring them over, and maybe at some point I'll even make some videos about these miniseries individually. I do have to get back to the movie stuff, so don't forget it's a movie channel, but in the meantime, yeah, here you go. Alright, I will see you guys next time.